Hey guys, how's it going? It's Steph Davis here from flipthiswholesaler.net. Today I am bringing you video number 1 of 3 videos where I'm going to walk you through filling out the contracts that I am giving away on my website. If you guys haven't seen it yet, I am giving away my pro buyer purchase and sale agreement as well as an assignment contract and an option to purchase. For those who are watching this on YouTube, you can get those contracts if you go to my blog. It's flipthiswholesaler.net, and just look up in the top right-hand corner, and that's where you can get these contracts. I get asked from people all the time if they can have a copy of the contracts that I use, so I figured I would just make them available on my website. So before I get started, we're going to start with the purchase and sale agreement today. Just wanted to make a disclaimer here. As you guys probably know, I'm not an attorney. If you're going to be using these contracts, you're definitely going to want to run them by your own attorney before you do that. I'm just going to explain to you how I fill them out, and you're going to want to run all this by your own attorney before you use them. So now that that is out of the way, we'll go ahead and get started. This is a very simple contract. It's like one and a half pages. Very simple. If you want to add any extra clauses of your own, like I said, feel free, talk to an attorney, put in there whatever you'd like. This is the contract that I used to use when I was doing deals with private sellers. And one thing I wanted to point out too, I've had a lot of people ask me this question as well. You cannot use this contract if you're going to be making offers on REOs, so don't even try. If you're making offers on REOs, there's going to be a specific contract that you're going to need to use, and either the listing agent, or if you're using a buyer's agent, they'll be able to provide that for you, but you can't just fill out your own contract and use that. They have, usually it's an as-is contract. It's the realtor approved contract for whatever state you're in. So just wanted to clarify that. Don't think that you can take this purchase and sale agreement and fill it out and give it to a realtor to make an offer on an REO, because it's not going to fly. So anyway, we will go ahead and get started. The first line here is obvious. It's just the day that you're writing the contract, and then it has a line to fill out for the seller and the buyer. If you're unsure of the seller's name, you can usually look it up in the tax records to see who's on title. If your county's tax records are not online, or if you're not sure what name to put there, you can always just put owner of record. That's what I do when I'm filling out contracts for REOs. I never bother to look up the seller's name. I just put owner of record. So, and then you're going to put your name there, buyer, whether it's your own name or your company name, however you want to do it. And then it says after that, and or assign. So that's already written into the contract. So putting that verbiage in there will allow you to assign your contract to your end buyer. And we're going to get to the assignment contract in another video. And then you've got spaces there for the street address. That's self-explanatory. City, state, zip code, and legal description. I honestly haven't filled out a legal description on a contract, and I don't even know how long. I always just leave it blank, and the title company handles that for me. But if you can usually get the legal description easily, again, in the tax records. So then we have the purchase price paid as follows: the earnest money deposit. Now, if you're dealing with a private seller, a non-REO property, you can get away with putting down a lot less of an earnest money deposit. I think when I was doing deals with private sellers, the most money I put down as an earnest deposit was $10. So whatever you negotiate with the seller, a lot of times they don't give a crap about the earnest money. Like with banks, they usually want $1,000 or 10% of the purchase price. When you're dealing with a private seller, they usually don't care. They just want their property sold. Most of them, some of them won't even ask you for an earnest money deposit. But anyway, so you can get away a lot of times with $10, $100, something like that. It's whatever you negotiate with the seller. So you're going to put that there, and then cash to the seller at closing. That would be the remaining balance that you are going to pay at closing. And I'm assuming here I have cash to seller at closing. I make all of my offers, and I always have cash offers, so I just have it written in the contract that it's cash to seller at closing. You can go in if you're going to be making an offer that's financed. If you download these contracts, you can go in and adjust them. So if you wanted to say you were going to be making an offer where you're getting financing, you could put that in there as opposed to cash. And then the total purchase price is obviously just the total purchase price. Goes on to say that the earnest money will be deposited with a licensed title company. I always like to, you don't want to be giving the earnest money deposit. You don't want to be writing it out to the seller. You want to make it out to preferably your title company. If they have a title company that they, well, actually, you want to give it to your title company. Have it, write it out to your title company. Have your title company hold it. You don't want to give it to the seller because who knows what they're going to do with it. Then we have the closing date and transfer of title. That's going to be the date that you are going to be closing the deal on. And again, this is something that you would negotiate with the seller. If you don't already have an end buyer in mind to where you know that you could close it very quickly, you probably want to try and set the closing date out as far as you can go. Again, with bank-owned properties, they usually like to have the closing date, especially if you're offering cash, 30 days or less. But when you're dealing with a private seller, it's just whatever you negotiate. So you're going to put that in the closing date. Then we go down to number 8, the inspection. You can, if you want to make your offer stronger to appear stronger to the seller, you can always cross the inspection period out. Like say if it's a fantastic deal and you want to make sure that your offer is really strong and you want to let them know, I'll pay all cash, I'll waive any inspections and close in a couple of days. You could always just cross that inspection period out. A lot of people, however, will put the inspection period in there just to make sure to do their due diligence. Some people say put an inspection period in there and then shop around for an end buyer, and if you can't find an end buyer, then back out. I personally don't really like to encourage people to do that because you don't want to be tying up, I mentioned this in the last video I did, you don't want to be going around tying people's property up, putting in like a 30-day inspection period, shopping the deal, not finding a buyer, and then, putting the seller in that position. So, but this inspection period in here, basically, you can just fill in, there's a blank, you can fill in however many days. Again, it's what you negotiate with the seller, how many days that you need for the inspection period. And it basically says in here, if buyer determines, that's you, obviously, if buyer determines that the condition of the property is not acceptable, buyer may cancel this contract by delivering written notice of such election to seller prior to the expiration of the inspection period. So it's basically saying if you get through your inspection period, there's something about the property that doesn't meet your criteria, doesn't pass your inspection, you just need to put in writing to the seller, this did not pass my inspection. I am not going to go ahead, or I'm not going to follow through and close on the property. And then it goes on to say that if you timely cancel the contract, which would mean within the time period of your, within your inspection period, that the earnest money deposit will be returned to you. And then actually I just realized I have 2 number 8s here. That should be number 9, where it says additional terms and conditions. That's anything else that you have negotiated with the seller, whether it be maybe if they have a bunch of garbage in the house and it all needs to be out by the time, before closing, or if there are certain items in the house that are not going to be included in the sale, stuff like that. Just any other agreement that you have with the seller, you're going to want to put that there in the additional terms and conditions. And then also I wanted to point out at number 7, it also has in there that you can advertise the property and have access to the property during reasonable hours to show the property to others. So that's very important. You always want to make sure you have that clause in there when you're wholesaling. So you have a way, or you have a right to bring potential buyers in to look at the property. And then at the bottom you just sign and date. The seller signs and dates, and that is about it. Like I said, it's a very simple, extremely simple purchase and sale agreement. If you want something more, complex, if you want extra stuff, extra clauses added to it, consult with an attorney. Actually, consult with an attorney anyway before you go ahead and use these. But hopefully, this will give you a grasp as to how you you go through and fill out a purchase and sale agreement. So I will be bringing you a couple other videos that are going to walk through how to use and fill out the wholesaling or the assignment contract as well as the option to purchase. So look for those in the next coming days. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment and I will be happy to answer. I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.